victims having little or no chance of controlling their own money. From today, though, a rule change means that Centrelink staff must consider that while making assessments for welfare payments.
The move's been welcomed by advocates, but they say it's only a start and needs to be backed up by law. Leanne Ho is the Chief Executive of Economic Justice Australia. She joins us now in the studio. G'day, Leanne. Good morning.
Good morning.
Can you just talk us through what this actually means for someone who is applying for Centrelink payments or has been getting them? What actually goes on? What's the conversation that is now had?
Well, from today, if you're experiencing family and domestic violence, what should happen is that it's more likely that Centrelink will take that into account. So it should be less likely that Centrelink will refuse your claim for payment or cut you off payment if you're already on a payment, or less likely that Centrelink will raise a debt against you because they've decided that you're a member of a couple, when your domestic violence circumstances should really prompt them to decide that you shouldn't be assessed as a member of a couple.
How big a problem has it been that, under the current arrangements before the change today, that the abuser, the controlling partner, took advantage of the situation at the expense of the survivor?
It might be helpful to use a case study to illustrate this. So we've had cases, for example, where a woman's been in a situation where her controlling partner is operating her bank accounts without her permission, using her credit card. He follows her to all of her appointments, to the doctor, to Centrelink. And instead of Centrelink seeing that as evidence that financial abuse is going on and the resources of the relationship aren't being shared, they've actually used that as evidence that they are still a member of a couple.
Yeah.
And if your partner is earning just over $1,000 a week, that's enough to knock out your entitlement to a social security payment, which means you're effectively tied to your abuser and you can't leave.
It is difficult, though, for a lot of people to be able to even talk about this kind of stuff. So how confident do you feel that the interactions between the Centrelink staff member and the person who might be suffering the abuse, who might be a survivor, how's that going to roll?
So that's why I started by saying it should be less likely that Centrelink is going to make inappropriate decisions, because they have this better guidance now on clarifying how the law should be applied. But we want to see how this rolls with Centrelink, and we're talking to Services Australia about how they're going to implement this change. We're also doing training with tribunal members who hear the appeals of these decisions, so that they're fully aware of the changes and how they should be applied.
So it's a good first step, as you said, but in terms of more being done, you'd like formal legislation to be brought in to underscore all of this?
Absolutely. Everything we've just been talking about, the job isn't done until it's cemented in the law. But there's also a block in the law, which means that if you end up with a Centrelink debt because Centrelink's gone back and decided you're a member of a couple for years. I mean, we see these debts in the hundreds of thousands of dollars. There's a block in the legislation that means those debts can't be waived. And it's really, against community expectations now that we would hold a victim of domestic violence responsible for a debt that's been caused by her abusive partner.
Leanne, great work. Thank you for highlighting what's going on. And as you say, hopefully from today, but no doubt with your advocacy, you will make sure it does happen. Leanne Ho, thank you.
Thank you.
Thanks, Leanne.
Well, it's been almost 2 months since floodwaters engulfed the remote community of Burketown in Queensland's Gulf country. As Julia Andre reports,